Welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Teachers. I'm your host, Peter Staditsky, and with me today is one of my teachers, one of my dear friends. Her name is Karina, and she's an amazing medicine woman. She comes from a Mexica background, and we've been working together in different retreats, and she's served me different medicines. So today I want to welcome Karina. Welcome in, Karina.
Thank you for having me, brother. Pleasure.
I'm so happy you're here. You have so much wisdom and so much knowledge to share. And I think today, to start out, I think it would be really beautiful to hear about your journey, to hear about when you were able to connect to this side of yourself, to the medicine side of yourself, when you kind of knew that this was your path. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this time and this space, and for hosting and getting this beautiful word out there. First, I would like to thank the ancestors who have walked before us, those who will walk after us, and thank you to the guardians of the land. So my name is Karina. I have been walking this path since I was a child. I was told as a child that I had a specific star in my family. But before moving forward, my family is Mexica. My family is from Teotihuacan and San Luis Potosí. My grandfather and my grandmother are from those parts of Mexico. I was born in Mexico City, and as time went on, I had to go ahead and go through some trials and tribulations just like everyone else. But as a child, I was already being, I guess you could say, prepared for the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I would, my grandmother and my mother were very knowledgeable in plants, and my grandmother was well known in the community for sobanderismo. From that point on, I already knew as a child, I would always follow my grandmother around for a reason. I knew that there was just this beautiful essence to her. Fast forward into my teenage and adolescent years, I started going through a lot of trauma experiences. And so at that time, I wasn't ready for the walk. Once I turned into my teenage years, we all go through this rebellious stage of trying to figure out life.
Absolutely.
And so throughout that time, I had to go through a lot of changes in my own mind, physical, spiritual. And so I found myself completely lost in the world until I probably turned 19 was my first awakening. My first awakening where I had a child. And through that experience, it was one of the most beautiful experiences, knowing that I was still going to walk this path. I just didn't know what it looked like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
During that time, I still went ahead and, still didn't know anything about life. So I still had my own understanding, walking and roaming the world. And so I was still lost. Fast forward into another 10 years, I ended up finding myself where I was stripped of everything in my life. Anything that was superficial, I was completely just stripped of everything. And I remember the only thing that I had at that moment was a candle that had tonatsin on it, which is what the Western world considers in Catholicism the Virgin Mary. And I remember having that candle, and I had a lighter. In those times, I actually used to, I never really respected tobacco. So in that time, I remember I had a lighter. And the moment that I lit that candle, I poured my entire heart out to that candle. To us, the fire is one of creator in our belief system. And so I gave myself to that fire. I expressed my heart, my soul, everything that I was looking for, and I asked that if I was to have another chance at life to try again and do better, I would. Fast forward 3 months later, my life turned upside down, completely upside down. And from that day forward, I knew that starting over, my life would never be the same again. So as time went on, I started to question what life had to offer me in a way where I started to ask deeper questions. I came back to my family and I would ask, of course, my grandmother, I would ask her, what is for me? How do I walk? Why am I finding myself where I'm just always lost every time I venture out into the world? And she reminded me that because I don't really belong in the world, I belong in spirituality. I just have been very rebellious to it. And from that day forward, I just started to question everything. I started to study. I started to walk with her. I had other different teachers, multiple teachers, as a matter of fact, where, I had my grandmother priority. She would teach me what she could, which came with plant baths, candle work, being able to do intentional touch. And then I started to find other teachers, other doors started to open for knowledge, and I started to learn how to do more creating with a lot of spiritual, connection versus it was more like plant medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I started to find this connection to where I was like, okay, if I can find a way to begin to heal my body or my mind, where else can I go? And Creator just heard my prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Some way, somehow, I ran into a really good friend. She's a soul sister for life, and she had introduced me to Madre Ayahuasca. And she would talk about her. And from there, I remember I was like, there's something about this that you're sharing with me that I feel I'm being called to sit. And the first experience with that specific medicine, it opened doors for me that I could have never, ever imagined. It allowed me to heal so many parts of my subconscious, my traumas. It healed me on such a deeper level. It helped me heal a lot of my relationships. And from that point on, I knew that I was going to explore plant medicines.
So,
I was never called to serve Aya.
So for those people that for those people that aren't familiar with ayahuasca, can you share a little bit about that medicine? Where does it come from? How it's created and the effects and things like that about that medicine?
So it is DMT. It is a psychoactive property. It comes from a vine called Ikapi. And so I'm not that knowledgeable in so much of the dynamics or about ayahuasca, but what I have learned is that it does come from South America. There's a lot of indigenous Amazon indigenous tribes that actually they grow this specific vine, and it helps you heal on such a deeper level with your subconscious, releasing traumas, connecting to your higher self. It does assist with healing ailments. I've had an experience where I've met the first woman that actually served me that medicine, she had, I believe she had pancreatic cancer.
Oh,
And
wow.
she did a beautiful dieta, which is a diet and a fast with Aya. And she's still here with us. She definitely healed that part of herself. And so, that's what called me. It called me, the idea of being able to find something other than what the world around us is providing for us is huge. It's immense.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, ayahuasca, there's so many medicine men and women that speak about how much ayahuasca has helped them. I've had
yeah,
my own personal experience with it. And for me, it's a little bit different for every person depending on how much inner work they've done, it seems
right.
like. But for me, it highlighted a lot of areas that I wasn't willing to look at, so clearly. It's like puts everything under a microscope and allows all those beliefs about crying and feeling and all these things to go right out the door, and it allowed me to really connect to those experiences and traumas and really feel the other side, like to feel the other person's experience and to really connect and to see so much more. It's so much more than just a psychedelic. It's also just opened my mind to what this reality is, how you know how I've been navigating this reality, what's possible, and it's been several years since I sat with ayahuasca, and I still continue to unravel different parts of that journey
Absolutely.
in my psyche. Do you feel the same? Do you feel like the medicine continues to work through you with through dreams and through other various ways, even till today?
Absolutely. I truly believe that we integrate once the medicine is within us and we've sat with this beautiful uh, plant ally, we integrate it for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And, this idea of the Western mentality of constantly having to sit, I think we forget that having traumas and wanting to heal your body, your mind, and your physical, that's one thing. But just like everything else, if we come in with addictive personality, we end up sitting with the medicine a lot more than we should be. We should allow that when we sit once or twice, even 5 times, we should allow the medicine to do what it needs to do so that we can integrate. We got to give our bodies that time to integrate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that goes for any psychedelic,
Yep.
um, any medicine that takes us to another reality, basically, that shows us these deeper aspects of self and of this reality.
100%. I agree.
So, so to get back to your story, right? So you found ayahuasca. You met this woman. You've been training with your grandmother. She's been teaching you the ways of the Mexica people from Mexico. And so, what happened after that? What happened after the ayahuasca journey for you?
So it's actually really beautiful. A lot of people call this a cliche, but the medicine will talk to you in such a way where it starts to give you pathways or direction or clarity in certain aspects of your life. And, the connection to Aya, what it allowed me to recognize is that I remembered that in one of those journeys, I remember asking the medicine to give me permission to learn about cacao.
Mm.
And during that journey, she literally bathed me. like from the soles of my feet, I started to grow these roots. And she literally, once she got to the top of my crown, it was almost like, the tree of life coming out of my crown. And she showered me with cacao.
Oh, wow. So this was like a vision that you saw?
Yes.
Wow.
And I remembered, I asked her through that moment, I asked her, may I have permission to walk? And immediately that was just like I knew it was the moment to begin venturing into new avenues in my life. And the medicine, it was just such a beautiful vision that I can't even describe it, but it was just so powerful and so profound for me that it began my walk with other medicines, with other plant medicines. Although I could never, I just don't ever see myself feeling called to serve Aya. I will always be grateful for that walk that I've had with Aya. I only go and sit with Aya when something deep wants to, I need clarity on life, or I need a good cleansing, or I need answers. So I don't often sit with it, but it has given me some deep, profound answers, and it has catapulted my path. And that's how I was able to begin to serve cacao. I found my teacher. My teacher's from Hawaii, but she's actually a mix of also, I believe she has a lot of background, Mexica background. She has Lakota background and other backgrounds. I can't really think or remember what she has in her bloodline, but she guided me to begin to walk with cacao. Mm-hmm. And so now, that's one of the beautiful plant medicines that I walk with, along with the Niño Santos, which is the mushroom medicine. The mushroom medicine.
Psilocybin, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The mushroom medicine came in when I least actually expected. I actually sat. Just like we've all experienced different things when we're younger. Obviously, I've had experiences with mushroom medicine with the Holy Children, but it was so different this time. And I recall the journey that I had where they had mentioned to me how to heal my body.
Oh, wow.
And that this was going to be part of my walk.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like what did the mushrooms say to you, and how did they communicate with you? Did you see images? Did you feel it?
So at one time in one of the sits, I felt like I had a mass in my breast area, and I remembered before sitting, it's a custom for us to ask and talk to the medicine and see what's transpiring. Well, at that time, I remember I had gotten it was a scan, it was a body scan, and it was by chance. And they told me that I had a spot in my lungs or in my chest area. So long story short, the moment that I started to prepare mentally, spiritually, and physically with that medicine, I ended up asking that medicine, if there is anything that is not of good health, can you teach me how to heal it? Mm-hmm. And I recall through that time, the medicine began to scan my body. And I just remember recognizing that it was scanning my body, but there was multiple colors, just vibrant colors up and down my body. And every time that the colors would stop, it would place my hands in that part of the body. And so as I began to just surrender to the medicine, because it's a beautiful way to surrender to things that we can't control. I just kind of followed what the medicine was sharing with me, and it was directing my hands to connect into my body. Mm-hmm. And I recall that throughout that beautiful journey, it allowed me to activate my hands to heal my own body. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Reiki or healing hands, something along those lines?
Yes. Yeah, for a long time, it's interesting because my grandmother always said, you're gonna be touching people. You're gonna be in soanerismo, which is intentional touch. But what we do is we massage
Mm-hmm.
and we heal the body in that way. But I've always been very hesitant and resistant to that because I've grown up to see my grandmother with so many ailments from her uh, caring and helping and assisting and healing and all this stuff with her just touching people. And I fought that for many years. So when the medicine started to speak to me and told me it's time for you to explore this, I I immediately was like, I'm not going to touch anyone. That's just not my thing. I don't have. Um, but even to this day, I'm very resistant. I have worked on elderly or children that do need body work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's very rare that I do. I tend to work more with like flowers, with plants, herbs, and the plant medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, it's just that thing that, we all have something to work on. And that's just one of those things that I still need to feel very comfortable to want to be able to offer that into the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's studies done, right, where they have shown that when a baby is born and it's taken away from the mother, and it's not getting that physical touch and love and affection, the babies die. They die from physical touch starvation. And there's also been studies with community and when people are hugging a lot and interacting physically and in this like pure unconditional loving way, then those are just healthier relationships, and those people feel more mentally stable and supported by the community. And so there's a even in Reiki, they teach that besides all of the energy flowing through your hands and through your feet and things like that, just the fact of putting your hands onto somebody just allows them to feel connected, to feel loved, to feel seen, to feel felt. There's such a beauty to that.
Absolutely. It really is, just that connection of being able to activate someone else with just your hands. It's a very powerful and deep connection that you have. We have this beautiful protocol, like when I am serving other medicines. So the other medicines that I work with is hape, which is rapé. That's the proper term. It does come from Brazil, and it's well known. It's starting to be a lot more well known in Mexico, but I have teachers that are from Brazil, and they are from different tribes and in South America. And the way that we see even intentional touch, sobanderismo, is very it's a energy transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have this protocol when we are serving someone hape, and this goes along with any time that you come and you sit with me with any of these medicines. The idea is that it's actually respect that of your essence and your vessel. That if we are not in alignment, like let's say if I have a headache, I wouldn't be able to serve you, or I wouldn't be able to put my hands on you because of the energy transfer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And before even sitting with the medicine, like if we ever serve you hape, the idea and just its integrity, it's out of respect. The way that we look at your mind when we serve you hape, it's a way that if I just had like a really bad meltdown or I have, a really bad argument, then we're not meant to serve you. And that's out of respect for the energy transfer that's coming towards you.
Because the other person could pick it up, right?
Absolutely.
And with hape is served usually with a pipe called a tepi, right?
Yes.
And in order to serve it, you're blowing the this tobacco snuff mixed with other herbs into somebody else's nose, right? And so it's there's a very close contact and a very direct line of energy transfer through that pipe, and so yeah, it's good. It seems like it's good to be really clear inside the self. That's why it's good. I've seen a lot of different rape facilitators. They serve themselves first to clear out any energy inside themselves, and then they'll serve the others, usually, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's also like a really beautiful protocol that when I do, I have permission from my mentors in Brazil that when I do, mentor someone to sit and build a relationship with the plant ally of tobacco snuff, we do always serve ourselves before serving anyone else. It's the connection that I need to be in alignment to be able to transfer any sacred energy towards you. And it's also removing the physical, like it's almost like removing that ego mind.
Yeah.
Medicine has its own intelligent way to connect and be able to share, that transference through the tepi. So I know that I'm jumping like back and forth, but I want to be able to share the different modalities and different walks that I have in this, trying to assist the collective consciousness.
Yeah, and I mean, one medicine we haven't discussed yet that has helped me tremendously and that I've sat with you with is combo. So can you talk a little bit about combo, where it comes from, where it originates, like, and the effects on the body?
Yes, so combo is the Phylomedusa bicolor frog from the Amazon. It's often confused for Bufo alvarius. That is the toad medicine, which is also a psychoactive, which is DMT. Combo is not psychoactive. It is actually a peptide.
Mm-hmm.
So the peptide would, in the Amazon, again, we go back into tribal members in the Amazon who have worked with this specific medicine for, thousands of years since, I guess, since the beginning of their time for their acknowledgement and these beautiful allies. What it does is it heals you on such a cellular level. It resets the human body into homeostasis. So what it does is the idea, a lot of people who have heard the word combo or know a little bit of combo, they tend to identify as combo being a detox. And although we can, consider it as a detox, the reality of it is just a release, and it's really healing the human body of toxins. It's releasing a lot of toxins on a scientific level, and it's also healing you on a cellular level, a spiritual and a mental level. So it changes the dynamic in the mind, where if you have, certain habits and patterns that you want to break. It helps people with addictions. It helps people with STDs. Helps people with a lot of different physical ailments. But the beauty about this specific medicine that we are talking about, is that we're discussing here, is that Campbell really does this beautiful shift in perspective on how you look at certain things. That includes food, the way that we have, our habits and our patterns, and the way that the Western culture has been programmed to see food. That changes the dynamic. It allows you to look at food in such a different perspective that you start to be a little bit more conscious and aware of what you put in your body.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we serve it is being able to, first we actually have an intake form that you need to fill out so that we know if you are a candidate for sitting with this specific medicine.
Because there's contraindications, right?
Pardon?
Because there's contraindications for this specific
there,
medicine, right?
There is. So if you have like heart problems, if you can still sit if you have certain things going on, like if you have high blood pressure or low blood pressure or high cholesterol. What it can do is, there's different forms of being able to serve you. Traditionally in the Amazon, what they do is they actually, traditional servings for the women on the ankles, and for the men, they serve them on the arms.
So I think I was educated that for men it's usually 3 points on the left arm, and for women it's 3 points on the right ankle. Is that correct?
That is pretty accurate.
Okay.
I agree with that. I had my first experience, which was very interesting. Everyone serves different. I've had 3 teachers, but I've had one that served me, and this is a commonality where a lot of practitioners are willing to serve you 5 points, and that's a lot of medicine for a lot of people, especially in Western society.
So when we say points, right? So a point is you take a small stick, right? You burn the end of it until it's like a little charcoal, and then you burn the top layer of the skin to get to the dermis, right? Like the layer underneath the epidermis, and then you have this tiny little access point to your lymphatic system, and then onto that you place a small ball of the frog poison from their glands, right? And that, am I describing that correctly?
Absolutely, yes. That is actually really accurate. Yeah, we do make. They're really tiny points. It's not deep. It is only just the first layer of the epidermis, which is enough for us to be able to release the peptides into the lymphatic system. They do over time. They fade. Depending on how deep the points are, they can last a little longer, but they're just small points. So those are what we call the points and the gates.
And when you say fade, you mean that the body sometimes will have a little scar there, depending on how thick the skin is of the individual or whatnot, and sometimes it actually heals over and you can't even tell that there was a point there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting how I've had, indigenous leaders from the jungle come and serve me, and they serve really different from how we serve here, which is really interesting. I have this mentality of when I actually serve someone, I have to remember that I'm not in the jungle. Mm-hmm. And that the body, mostly, people who come and sit with the specific medicine with myself, is that there's still a product or a programming conditioning of the Western society mentality. So we're constantly fighting toxins. We're constantly fighting distractions. We have a lot of, our foods, stuff like that, have a lot to do with how I serve here. Versus if you're coming from the jungle, you're going to be really clean, and they just kind of serve you their amount of medicine, which would be like 5 points, I tend to walk really slow with people because I have to remember that the idea or the intention for someone to to be called to sit with these medicines to heal themselves is not to re-traumatize the body. You don't want to shock the body. So I tend to walk so slow that I will do a test, just one point, to see how this, how the person in front of me is actually receiving the medicine.
Okay, so when you say walking slowly, you mean that you put one point on first, you see how the person does with that point, if there's any allergic reaction, if they're feeling anything in their body, and that's more intense than the normal symptoms, right? And then from there you'll move on to other points if needed. And I know that when you served me, we had created several points, and then we ended up not even using all of them. So when a point isn't used, it's called a gate, right? So on that gate, if the facilitator believes that the person has received what they needed from the medicine, then they may not administer to that last point, right?
Correct. So let's say I don't remember, because it's been a while since I served you. I don't remember how many gates we made you.
Mm-hmm. I think it may have been 6 or 7.
Okay. So,
but this was my 4th time with you. So this is my 4th time sitting with Combo was with you. So I had already had the experience of what it feels like. My body, knew how to work with the medicine. And so we went for a little bit of a higher dose.
Yeah. So the leftover gates that were not utilized or worked with are considered spirit points.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could have, there's different forms of being able to connect with the medicine. And so when we're not utilizing the whole thing, and thank you for actually emphasizing in that, because you had already sat with the medicine and you've already had your experience, that's what made me feel comfortable enough to serve you that many points. But, I think that your journey and your session, your sit with Campbell, with myself, was deeply profound, and it was an honor to actually serve you, I might add.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a really powerful experience for me. I remember there was a lot of energy behind my heart, in the back of my heart, that I was healing through that particular combo ceremony. I was and the energy in the back of the heart is like past relationships, past pain, past heartbreak, and so it was really profound, and I'm so grateful for you serving me that day. And combo is. I remember the first time I sat with it, it felt like what you mentioned with the psilocybin. It felt like my body was getting scanned by the medicine. It felt like a scanner going up and down my body, like tuning into the parts of me that needed to be cleared and released. And so after that, I felt like a warmness, like a warmth going through my arms, my hands. Then I felt my hand meridians and my foot meridians just like blast open. And this happens pretty much every time I sit with Combo, because I've been attuned to various forms of energetic healings, like Reiki of different kinds and so on. And so my hands were just like like it felt like a Super Saiyan amount of energy was just like running through me, and just like it felt like this tsunami of healing energy pulsating out of my hands and feet. And the thing with Combo is, almost every facilitator I've ever spoken with that serves Combo, they highly encourage the purge, which is you drink how many liters do we is the traditional amount of water to drink before you start?
So it's approximately about 1 liter to 1.5 liters.
Okay. So that's that's like three big water bottles, like big containers of water. And towards that last container, it gets really tough because your stomach is just full of water. And what it seems as though happened in my body was the combo started to address the areas that were impacted, and it like wrung them out, like wringing out a wet cloth, and it like wrung those toxins and all that old dense energy into the water, and then it came out as a purge. So for most people, it seems like they purge out like throwing up, right? But for some people, it comes out the other end, and sometimes it comes out both, right?
Yeah. So the beauty about Campbell and what we learn, everyone is so different that sometimes there's different ways of getting well. For us, getting well means, purging, but getting well can be anywhere between having an outburst of emotions, which you could be crying, you could be sweating, you could be really extremely cold, your body temperature changes. You could have a little bit of tremoring. It's perfectly normal. You do end up getting well, purging through the mouth orally, or you can have emotional getting well episode, which would be going to the restroom. And all of those, it really identifies to the person who is actually serving you exactly what's going on with you. Many times when someone doesn't end up getting well orally, they end up going to the restroom and they have an amazing bowel movement. But what ends up happening is they've been holding on to a lot of emotions. And it could also be, on a scientific level, there's a lot of toxins that could be stuck in the colon tract, in the intestinal tract. So it cleans them out in that way. When someone is healing or getting well, or they're constantly either crying or there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of heart energy, that needs to be released.
And I think it's really important to touch upon how in society, throwing up and purging is like people want to avoid it at all costs, right? But in most plant medicines that I've sat with, it's encouraged, if you're feeling nauseous, if you're feeling like there's stuck energy, to actually let go and just fully let it go however it needs to leave the body. And from my experience, it seems as though, like what you were saying, there's purging through sweat, there's purging through tears, there's purging through yawning, there's purging through laughter, there's purging through throwing up, there's purging through bowel movement. There's so many different ways to purge. And when people sit with me with rape or hape, I encourage all of it. It's like totally encouraged to release however you need to. And people will be like, sometimes people might feel like, I feel nauseous, this is so uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, let's dive into that. Let's actually release it and not keep it stagnant there. So then it comes out in other forms, right? Like it has to come out somehow, some way, and a lot of times if somebody isn't getting well or purging in the moment, it'll come out in unhealthy ways like anger or frustration or depression, or these ways that people don't connect the dots sometimes, but it's becoming more and more clear the more that I work with these different modalities and these different medicines,
Absolutely. It's the way of, again, that Western mentality of the programming, it's relearning that the things that were taught to be something that's not good, Like if you've had, an addictive personality where, for example, if you come into these medicines to heal, what's meant for you to heal, you face it. You literally face these things head on. Kind of if someone just has this, or they're trying to avoid the medicine because they don't want to purge, it's deprogramming the mind to let you know that your body wants to release this energetic stuff, these tensions, these blockages, and that's the way of the body intelligence, the plant's intelligence or the medicine's intelligence for you to get rid of these. It's not toxins only in a physical level, but it's toxins in the mental and emotional body. That we're releasing. If we can get away from, if we can just get our minds away from the thought of, oh, I just don't want to do that specific thing, or I don't want to do it because I'm going to purge. That's you're really hurting yourself in some way, because your healing isn't pretty. It's not. People think it's like this glamorous life, and it's really not. It's a vulnerable state. But for me to be quite honest with you, when the most vulnerable I can see you, the more I can work. And we can do the work together. If you are so resistant, obviously it's a beautiful challenge for me. But if you're resistant, the reality of things is that it's going to be a lot more challenging for you. When we surrender to this way of like healing, we come to the realization that there is beauty on the other side. There really is beauty on the other side. And once we sit with these medicines, whether it's just one time in your lifetime, you're going to forever have that specific intelligence of that medicine within your DNA for the rest of your life. So you will be spending the rest of your life integrating it.
Yeah, and you can always call upon that medicine to help you anytime down the line in your life. You can, once you've done it one time, you can
Absolutely. Always,
after that one experience, you're connected to that specific plant medicine. And for me, it seems like with different plant medicines that I've worked with, it's almost like these different superpowers, or in India they call them siddhis or siddhis, come online. Where if it's like a sassafras, for example, medicine that I've worked with, I was able to like see things from a totally high up outside perspective. Or if it's if something like combo, I'm able to like feel my body more, feel where I'm holding energy, like connect to that and speak to it. It's like, it seems like every medicine has a beautiful activation that happens. Have you had the same experience with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the physics behind the intelligence of the medicines that it's really even hard to express or explain what truly transpires through these medicines.
Yeah, because it's hitting on every level. It's like working on potentially past lifetime stuff, working on emotional aspects, spiritual aspects, energy in the aura or the subtle bodies. It's working on like multiple layers that we're not able to perceive as human beings all at once. Like that we may be aware of some of these things as they're happening, but then some of them don't become clear till a year later we look back and we're like, oh, a year ago I would have reacted to that completely different, but now that doesn't activate me or trigger me or upset me at all, and sometimes it's those beautiful moments later down the line that it just gives that clarity.
Absolutely. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And these are, I feel that I'm so grateful that not only am I humbled to be walking this journey, but being able to assist the collective consciousness. I don't find myself picketing, or I don't find myself doing other things. I find myself just assisting someone in the harmony of who they are. And, the intention is for everyone to find their power again. We've been lost for so many years, and all these traumas and all of this confusion that we have, from generation to generation. It's now that I could be a part of being able to just assist in some way or another, I don't feel lost anymore.
Yeah, because it sounds like you found a sense of purpose, right?
Absolutely. This is where I truly belong. And, it's funny because as we are sharing all of this, it reminds me, I tried my best to have a government job, and I just didn't know what to get. It turned out to be where this was the walk.
Right. Yeah, it seems like spirit pushes us in ways to guide us and show us, okay, this isn't aligned. This isn't aligned right now. It may be in a little bit, or, you learn certain things along the path that then become like there's clarity on why further down the line. It's just like a trust the journey, enjoy the journey while you're on it, right?
Absolutely. And just being able to walk in humility, that I have this opportunity to officially be in alignment with what Creator has for me in this contract that I have, this lifetime. It's been an honor. It truly has been an honor. It's not pretty, but it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's been such a humbling experience, and to walk, to live, to breathe, to just eat this way is just something. It's unexplainable, but it's not for everyone. Not for everyone. But if Creator has this beautiful way of, if you're meant to be in this walk, He will continue, or she will continue to show you that this is it. This is the way.
Right.
You're meant to assist the collective consciousness. And I want to thank you, because you're doing what you need to do as well. And in your walk, and how beautiful I see your walk is. It's just beautiful to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to even speak my voice.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for all the amazing ways that you serve humanity, the ways that you have healed yourself and continue to show up for those difficult moments. And I'm so proud of you, and I'm really grateful to call you one of my sisters. And I believe we're all walking each other home, and it's an honor to be walking each other home together. And if people want to work with you, if they want you to come do a cacao ceremony, or if they want a private or a group combo session, what would be the best way for people to reach out to you?
So you can definitely find me on social media. I am on Instagram. It is the number 1, and it's Guided Spirit. So it's One Guided Spirit on Instagram. I do have another page that is PK at Heart 1. They're both on Instagram. There is a link in the bio part, and you can definitely book there with me, and you'll have my direct number, and we can definitely connect. And I'd be happy to do a consultation. All consultations are free of charge. It's good for us to get to know one another, for you to get to know me, and for me to get to know you, and how we can work in alignment together. And that's where you'll be able to find me. I know I should start other social accounts, but that should come in the future.
That's where we're at right now. So that's beautiful. So One Guided Heart is the first account, and that's with the number 1, right?
It's actually One Guided Spirit.
One Guided Spirit. Okay. So One Guided Spirit is the main Instagram, and the backup Instagram was, can you spell it out letter by letter?
Yes. It's P as in Paul, or P as in Peter, K at heart, 1.
After the K, what was after the K?
At heart, A-T
H-E-A-R-T.
1.
Okay. And then the number 1 at the end.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. So if anybody wants to connect with Karina, Instagram is the best way. If you're having trouble, you can reach out through my Instagram or through my page, and I would be happy to connect you with her. So thank you so much for coming on today, Karina. I feel like we just skimmed the surface of different plant medicines, and I'm sure we'll do a part 2 down the line. I wish you all the best, and thank you so much again.
Looking forward to it, brother. Ometeo and Plazo Kamati for having me. I appreciate you.
Okay, beautiful. All right, till next time.